Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Sergeant Spray Gun Productions.
Welcome to part 2 of painting ghost flames. Today we're going to be, rather than using respirator and spray gun equipment, we're going to be using masking materials. Fine line tape, blue fine line tape is very important if you want the crisp, clean lines. You don't want to use the skinny, regular yellow masking tape. You won't get crisp, clean lines. So we got our masking stuff here, varying widths and types of tape. We got our panel that we're going to mask off and lay out our graphics. So we're ready to go. I hope you enjoy this part of the video.
I'm beginning to mask off the flame outline with some 1/16 inch blue fine line tape. What I did prior to this, that tape line there, is I applied it with the roll, cut the tape, peeled it back off because I didn't like it, and reapplied it. You shouldn't do that. If you outline something, cut the tape, and you don't like it, and you end up having to peel it off, do not reapply it. I did that just to save a little bit of tape. If you'll notice, I have masking tape right there where I just peeled it off. That is for a center reference point. I've also got a longer one in the back to help me eyeball a center line on the hood. That'll help you get symmetrical flames. I've sped up the video here just a little bit just to get through some of the video quicker. Some things to keep in mind when you're doing flames, just some rules of thumb, if you will, is you should never have any straight lines. Another thing to remember is the licks should always decrease in width towards the end of the flicks or the licks. You should never let them get skinny and then fat and then back to skinny again. Another thing you need to remember is if you have two adjacent licks, they should either both point towards each other or both point toward away from each other. If you have two adjacent licks that both curve in the same direction, it won't look right. One other thing to keep in mind is the flame licks should never have more than 2 curves in it. If you put a third curve in your flame lick, it'll end up looking like seaweed.
Good enough.
Trying to move quick here, not just by fast forwarding the video, but I laid this out in practically no time at all. If you're doing custom work for a customer, it's going to take a lot more than 20 minutes unless you know exactly what they are looking for and you're just fast as heck at laying out flames. It's always good to have a lot of communication lines open with the customer so that they can basically give you the blessing on they like what you've laid out and they're going to be happy with it, as opposed to saying the flames they're too short or too skinny or too fat, or they don't go back into the panel far enough, or they go too far. Just got to make sure that the customer's happy with what you've done. Give them what they're looking for. This isn't an actual job. Nobody's paying me to do this, so I don't have to seek any approval from anybody. I'm just doing this for a video demonstration. laying out flames is something that does take some practice. It's been a little while since I've done some flames, and I didn't do any practicing. I didn't want to waste the tape on it, so I just did the best I could in a very short period of time, just for demonstration purposes. The main thing I wanted to illustrate with this video was the ghost effect and how to achieve that. That'll be coming up later in the video. I'll let you know what you got to use for that if you don't already know. It's not an ancient Chinese secret, but some people just aren't aware of what you got to use to get ghost flames, what product or whatever. Once you get your flames lined out and taped off an inch or two past what's going to be painted, you can start using wider tape and even paper. Once you've got that all laid out, clean the panel, the exposed part of the panel. Always check your masking, make sure nothing's lifting up. Particularly that blue fine line tape. That will tend to lift or kink. Sometimes it'll get bubbles in it. You got to keep that stuff pressed down. Here's my Intercoat clear with the gold pearl added. In my previous video, I showed the gold pearl being added to the Intercoat clear. Checking my masking, making sure nothing's lifting up. Blowing off the panel. And I'm going to apply more pearl towards the front of the hood and try to taper the gold effect or the ghost effect from front to back, so it's more predominant in the front of the hood and less predominant in the back of the hood. So far I haven't put anything on the end of the licks, just doubling and tripling up on the front, working my way back with each coat. It's very easy to put the ghost effect or the pearl on too heavy, and in this case I think I did. It ended up being a little bit more visible than I was wanting. You're not looking for color, you're looking to get an effect, and it's not going to be obvious on your masking material. You won't even hardly see it unless you use a sun gun or something like that. Just trying to taper the ghost effect back towards the end of the licks. I think I would have got the best results if I would have stopped right there, but I went ahead and put a couple more coats on the panel. But it's just a demonstration. Good enough. Test panels will also help you to figure out how much effect you're going to get. I believe this is my last coat here, and as you can see, it looks like I'm not putting anything on. Once you take the masking off, you'll be able to see it. You shouldn't be able to see it too awfully good. See there? that's a little bit not quite ghosty enough for my personal liking. But here I'm getting ready to spray some clear coat on it. Cut out a lot of the video just to keep the video short. Cut out tacking off the hood and stuff like that. That's all obvious stuff. On graphics like this, it's always a good idea to be a little generous with the clear so you can bury the graphics, because you will feel a line if you don't. For the clear coat here, I'm using the Techno Pro Light with the TE20 air cap, 1.3 millimeter tip, and about 29 psi air pressure. When I first got this gun and was using it for clear coat, I used the same air pressure as my DeVilbiss Plus, which I use it at about 35 psi, and that's too much for this gun with this air cap. 29 or 30 is about the max. Otherwise, if you go any higher than that, you basically just split the fan pattern in half with so much air. Going over the graphics part of the panel a little bit more. I had plenty of clear coat, so this is the second coat of clear. Once I was done, I used the extra clear to go over the flames, just the flame area, just to bury them a little bit more. You don't have to put 4 coats or 3 coats on the whole entire panel, but on the graphics, that would be good to help bury them. And here it is in the paint booth after it's been clear coated. You can see the flames fairly well even in the paint booth. So that would tell you that once you get it out in the sun, they're going to show up way better than that. And here it is out in the sun.
I overdid it on the pearl just a little bit.
Not quite ghosty enough for me. I used a little too much gold pearl effect in my opinion. Yeah. But good enough for a
That tone of blue
demonstration.
sure is
Thank you for watching.
pretty color.